Hopefully, you're able to hear us at this point in time. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted on the department's website once we can do the transcript. At this point, I would hedge my bets and say probably early next week. Look for that to be posted. One of the things that we're hoping to be able to do today is to provide everybody with a walkthrough of the budget overview for parents template, and to be able to provide just some of the hints and tips that will make working with the Excel document a little bit easier. If we could go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So the purpose of this webinar today is to provide an overview of the budget overview for parents template and instructions for the 2020-21 school year. The template and the instructions for the budget overview for parents are posted on the LCAP webpage on CDE's website, and you can find those there. It consists of two files. One of the files is an Excel document that includes not only the sheets that you'll need to complete the template, but also the instructions. There's also a standalone PDF of the instructions that you can use so that you're not trying to flip back and forth between tabs when you're completing it. Next slide, please. So the budget overview for parents was added to the Education Code a number of years ago, and it requires that each school district, county office of education, and charter school develop a budget overview for parents in conjunction with the development of their LCAP. Next slide, please. However, in this current year, it's necessitated the need for some changes. Obviously, with the way in which the prior school year ended and the needs to pivot within the educational system to a distance learning environment, with the needs to provide more accessibility and connectivity to our student groups, this has necessitated some changes within the system. And so Senate Bill 98 added Education Code Section 43509. This changed the adoption date for the budget overview for parents for the 2021 school year, tying it to the LEA's first interim budget report, due on or before December 15th of 2020. There's a couple of reasons for doing this. One, it was quickly apparent that there was not going to be an LCAP as we knew it. Within the governor's executive order that he issued early in March, it envisioned an off-year LCAP that would be due in December. Then there was the COVID-19 written operations report, and then the legislature passed Senate Bill 98, approved by the governor, which put in place the requirement for the Learning Continuity and Attendance Plan, or Learning Continuity Plan, which is due on September 30th of this year. And so because of that, the budget overview for parents was not going to be put in place as part of the LCAP development cycle. So what we're discussing, next slide, please. In addition, following the passage of Senate Bill 98, Senate Bill 820 further added the requirements that the superintendent, subject to the approval of the executive director of the State Board of Education, make some specific updates to the budget overview for parents template by September 15th. Next slide. So within SB 820, the CDE was required to do the following. First of all, to include within the revenue portion of the requirement that LEAs provide the amount of federal funds allocated to the LEA under the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, or the CARES Act. Second, there were some edits for this year to the total budgeted expenditures portion of the budget overview for parents, tying those to the learning continuity plan, not to the LCAP. Those of you that have filled out the budget overview in previous years know that this is typically tied to the total budgeted expenditures, the total budgeted expenditures within the LCAP, and the total budgeted expenditures for high needs students within the LCAP. So what's been done here is, instead of referring back to the LCAP, we're now referring to the Learning Continuity Plan. Next slide, please. Specifically, when we're talking about CARES Act funds, we're talking about a number of different funding sources here. CARES Act funds include the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Funds, or ESSA funds, as well as Learning Loss Mitigation Funds, which include both the Coronavirus Relief Funds and the Governor's Emergency Education Relief Funds. So for those of you that speak the fiscal language, we're specifically referring to the ESSER, the LLM funds, including CR and GEAR funds. Next slide. So we want to go over some of the requirements with you, walk you through some of the components within the template, and then what we'll do is we'll go and we'll walk through the actual template. And when we walk through the template, it will probably help to clear things up for you and provide some clarifications around this. And remember, this is being recorded, and so you'll be able to come back and download the recordings in order to help you in filling out the document. So first requirement is that, to the greatest extent practicable, the budget overview for parents should use language that's understandable and accessible to parents. So when you're writing the required descriptions that exist within the budget overview for parents, remember to use parent-friendly language. Next slide, please. So the timeline here, remember this is for the 2020-2021 school year. Local governing boards or governing bodies are required to adopt and submit the budget overview for parents on or before December 15th of 2020 in conjunction with the LEA's first interim budget report. Now, in saying this, when we're talking specifically about charter schools, there are some nuances here related to the way in which they adopt and submit those. So for charter schools, they should use the process that is within the purview of either their memorandum of understanding with their authorizer or written into their charter, or that's been decided upon by their local governing body. And so when we're talking about adopting the budget overview for a charter school, that's what we're referring to. Next slide, please. So the first component that is required within the budget overview for parents is the projected revenue. The projected revenue for the budget overview for parents includes the following. This is the total general fund revenue for the current school year as of the date of the first interim report. And the funds that we're looking at are all LCFF revenue, LCFF supplemental and concentration grants, or the estimates of those, all other state funds, all local funds, all federal funds, which would include the federal CARES funding, and then the specific amount of federal CARES funding. So just note that all federal funds includes the CARES Act funding. And then you're also providing the specific amount of the CARES Act funding on its own. Next slide, please. Just again, so that everybody understands, CARES Act funding includes the ESSER funds and the LLM funds, which incorporate coronavirus relief and the GEAR funding. Next slide, please. The second component within the budgeted expenditures is, within the budget overview, is the budgeted expenditures. And so here we're looking at the totals for the 2020-21 school year for the following: the total budgeted general fund expenditures, the total budgeted expenditures in the learning continuity plan, and the total budgeted expenditures for high needs students in the learning continuity plan. So this is what's being done to the actions and services that are increasing or improving services for low-income foster youth and English learners that are within the learning continuity plan. Next slide, please. And then the third component within the budget overview for parents that we're looking at is a review of prior year expenditures. And so here we're actually looking back at the 2019-20 LCAP. And so you'll notice the reference on the slide to the LCAP. This is looking back at what was done last year and is asking for the total budgeted expenditures for unduplicated students, English learners, foster youth, low income, that were provided in the LCAP for 2019-20. It's also asking for the actual expenditures for high needs students in the LCAP. So looking back at last year, what was budgeted for increasing or improving services, for actions that increased or improved services, and what was the actual expenditure for actions increasing or improving services. That in a normal year, what would have happened is that we would have been completing a LCAP for 2020-21. Obviously, we're not, but within that LCAP, we would have done the annual update. And the annual update would have looked at the different actions and services within the different goals and looked at those, reviewed those budgeted expenditures, also would have provided estimated actuals for those expenditures. The annual update for the 19-20 LCAP is going to be incorporated into the 2021-22 LCAP. That was something that was clarified in Senate Bill 820. However, in this particular year, the kind of high-level overview of prior year expenditures within the budget overview for parents is actually preceding the full annual update within the LCAP. So just be aware that that's what's being asked for here. Next slide. Now, within the within the budget overview for parents, there's potentially three narrative responses. The first narrative response is one that all LEAs are asked to respond to. In a typical year, this would read, briefly describe any of the general fund budgeted expenditures that are not included in the LCAP. This year, again, we don't have an LCAP. So instead, in keeping with the requirements of Senate Bill 820 to align the budget expenditure, budget overview for parents to the learning continuity plan, the prompt reads as follows: briefly describe any of the general fund budget expenditures for 2020-21 school year that are not included in the learning continuity plan. Next slide. Now, the second and the third narrative responses are conditional responses, meaning that an LEA will only be asked to respond to them if the data that they've provided triggers a response, okay? So for high needs students, if the amount of LCFF supplemental and concentration grant funding is less than the amount of total budgeted expenditures for high needs students in the learning continuity plan, the LEA is asked to respond to the following prompt. And the prompt reads, provide a brief description of the additional actions the LEA, and the only reason that's bracketed is because within the budget overview for parents template, it will populate the name of the LEA. So provide a brief description of the additional actions the LEA is taking to meet its requirement to increase or improve services for high needs students. So again, this is a prompt that some LEAs will be required to respond to, others will not. It's all based on the amount of funding what the LEA has put in terms of funding within the data input tab. And again, we'll look at that in a little bit. Next slide, please. So the third narrative response, again, this is conditional, is the actual expenditures for high needs students. If the amount of the total budgeted expenditures for high needs students in the LCAP, remember this is that third piece where we're looking back at the prior year, is greater than the amount of the actual expenditures for high needs students in the LCAP, then the LEA is asked to respond to the following prompt. Provide a brief description of how the difference between what was budgeted and what was expended impacted the actions and services and overall increased or improved services for high needs students in the 2019-20 fiscal year, as required by Education Code Section 42238.07. Next slide, please. So at this point in time, what we're going to do is we're going to switch over and actually look at the budget overview for parents template. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the opportunity to actually do some work with this, plug some stuff in. So if you download the budget overview for parents template Excel document, this is what you will find when you open it up. You're going to find a title page that's there as part of the accessibility requirements. You'll find down along the bottom 5 tabs. The second tab is the instruction tab. And the instruction tab is something that we would highly recommend that everybody spend a little time reading before you go in and fill things out, because it provides some very helpful information for you. This is the same instruction. These are the same instructions that are also posted on the PDF document within on the CDE's LCAP webpage. So a couple of things to note. Within the instructions, we give specific references for the different rows on the unique tabs within the spreadsheet, so that it's specifically referring to what goes in this part. So for example, right here, when we get to the federal coronavirus, or the Federal CARES Act funding in row 16, it tells you that these should include the ESSER funding, learning loss mitigation funding, coronavirus relief funding, and the GEAR funds, okay? When we get down here to the total budgeted expenditures, it will actually refer you to the SAC's first interim fund form 01 and give you the column and the row number for those particular pieces. It does the same thing for the total budgeted expenditures as well as the revenue. It references those particular pieces on both of those aspects. And then down here, it also provides instructions related to the narrative response tabs, okay? So again, take a moment, look over that. It's valuable information. Now, based on that, we come to the data input tab. The data input tab, the narrative responses tab, the title page, and the instructions are not considered part of the budget overview for parents template when it comes to posting requirements. Those are simply, it's information that's used to complete the template. Now, there's nothing that would prevent an LEA from providing that information in addition to what's in the template if they want to, but just so you know, title page, instructions, data input, and narrative responses are not required to be posted. The template is required to be posted, and we'll talk about that later. So within the data input sheet, we've got spaces for the LEA name, CDS code, and LEA contact information. Typically speaking, there would be a current year and a coming year over here. However, because we're not completing an LCAP that's looking forward, and we're completing a budget overview that's within the current year, we've already filled in the current school year and the prior school year for purposes of the budget overview for parents for the 2020-21 school year. And those can't be changed. Then there are tabs or cells for each one of the 5 required or 6 required funding elements that are here. Also for the general fund budgeted expenditures and the expenditures for high needs students in 2019-20. If you go to the narrative response tab, this is what you're going to see. Right here, you've got the first prompt, which all LEAs are asked to respond to. Briefly describe any of the general fund budget expenditures not for the school year, not included in the learning continuity plan. And then to respond to the prompt, you're simply going to double click within the box, okay? There's some folks that have in prior years run into trouble within this, within the Excel workbook when they have not double clicked and have simply done a single click on it and then pasted something in. Because what that does is it overwrites the cell value, which then doesn't move the information forward into the template. So please be sure that you are double clicking, and then you can paste away to your heart's content. You'll notice here that both of these prompts simply provide an explanation that the prompt may display. Based on the information that's provided on this data input sheet, that will trigger or not trigger these particular prompts. If you are asked to, if a prompt does appear in one of these two, then again, you would simply respond to the prompt by double clicking. You can erase the stuff that's in brackets and then put in your response. Now, before we've filled out any information, the template looks like this. It's blank. It contains some stock language. You see that all the funding sources are 0. LEA name is in brackets, and there's not a whole lot of substantive information that's provided there. So what we'll do here is we'll go ahead and input some information into this template so that everybody can see what's being done. And again, all I'm doing here is double clicking on that cell in order to highlight it and then pasting in the information. You'll notice that as we start pasting in this information, that it does start to automatically sum at the bottom. And it'll take me just a moment longer to fill this in. Unfortunately, I can't do it in a big block. So here we've got the projected general fund revenue that's been put in, and we'll put in the total general fund budgeted expenditures, and we'll put in what's in the learning continuity plan, and we'll put in what within the learning continuity plan is budgeted for high needs students. And then looking back at the LCAP for last year, we'll enter 2 final amounts. Okay, so we've got all of that entered. Now, if we go to the narrative response tab, we see that these prompts still aren't displaying here. We need to respond to this first prompt that LEAs are asked to respond to about what's being done. And so I'm just going to paste in the following: general fund budgeted expenditures not in the learning continuity plan will be used in the following ways, because I'm not going to try to come up with some sort of list. Now, here's what has happened to the template. You can see that we've got information that's filled in on the pie chart. The LEA information has populated in, and we're starting to see actual descriptions of funding. Within these pages here, you can also see right here where we inserted our response to the first narrative prompt, and we can adjust that in order to make it viewable before we save it, okay? Now, what we don't see on here, because it hasn't triggered, are the responses to the narrative prompts. So let's provide an example of what that might look like. So we'll change the total budgeted expenditures for high needs students within the learning continuity plan to that. And now when we come to the narrative response screen, you see that the second prompt has populated. So it's asking the LEA to provide a description of the additional actions the LEA is taking to meet its requirement to increase or improve services. And this is in part because the learning continuity plan with its focus on how the LEA is providing its educational program in light of the needs that have surfaced around COVID-19, that provides the possibility that an LEA might not have all of the actions and services that are increasing or improving for high needs students within the planning document itself. And so to account for that, LEAs are provided the opportunity to address how it is that they're meeting this requirement. Somebody within the chat earlier asked if this was kind of analogous to the second prompt on the increased or improved services section of the learning continuity plan about how the LEA is meeting its obligation to increase or improve services. And yes, it is. This is where that response could be provided, although this response is probably going to be a bit more truncated or may use different language than that in the learning continuity plan. But essentially, it's the same, it fulfills the same purpose. Now, when we go back to the template, what we see when we scroll down is that our description here has begun to populate. In addition to the actions described in the Learning Continuity Plan, Sample Unified is meeting its requirements to increase or improve services in the following ways. And again, you can adjust the row height in order to make all of that input visible. And then for the third narrative response here, again, we can demonstrate triggering that particular response. We'll need to adjust this amount here. And that will trigger our third narrative response that we will then provide a response for. So again, double clicking and then pasting in. And then when we go back to the template and we're looking specifically at the update on increased or improved services, we can see that down here is where our description has populated in. So that provides you with the walkthrough of the increased of the budget overview for parents specifically. And so at this point, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll take a pause here for a moment and look at some of the questions. Now, some of the questions that folks have asked previously related to adoption, posting, etc. We'll get to those in a moment. And some of the questions related to the funding, specifically around CARES funding, those are addressed within the instructions, as has been pointed out. And so what we're going to focus on are questions that are related to things that we might not have covered. We'll be back in a So it looks like there's a lot of questions in here related specifically to the CARES Act funds and what should show up there. Again, take a look at the instructions and also the specific references to the first interim reports within the instructions, what the funding charts or tables that are referenced in here, because that's going to provide some clarity around what in particular needs to be put in. There's also a number of questions around word limit. The word limit is theoretically 75 words, although to be brutally honest, the Excel document will allow approximately 200 words before it will simply not allow any additional content to be put in. If you go over, that's between you and if you're a school district, your county office. If you're a county office, the CDE. Although really it should be something that your stakeholders, your parents can consume rather than providing huge exhaustive lists. So there's also a lot of questions related to the timelines and whether or not not whether or not, but what about adoption, etc. So we'll spend some time going over that, and then once we've finished going over that, then we'll come back and look at any additional questions that are still there. So I'm going to stop sharing. And Susan, if you could go back to sharing the PowerPoint. Okay, next, yep, not that one. No, you're on the presenter view.
Got it?
Thank you. So I want to review some of the changes and requirements because this has informed the recommendation that we're putting forth related to this. So everybody remember that Senate Bill 98 decoupled the budget overview for parents from the LCAP for the 2020-21 school year. And they tied it to the first interim report, which is due on or before December 15th. within SB 98, that was the entirety of the change that was made related to the budget overview for parents, while at the same time, the LCAP was basically put on pause for the 2021 school year, and the learning continuity and attendance plan was put in place. Now, following SB 98 and following the release of the learning continuity and attendance plan template, which everybody's been working on since then, Senate Bill 820 further clarified the requirement for the budget overview for parents template to be aligned to the learning continuity plan. And so when we were looking at this, the revenue and the budgeted expenditures that are referenced in the 2020-21 budget overview for parents are tying back to the LEA's first interim budget report. They're tying back to the district's learning continuity plan, and they're tying back to the 2019-20 LCAP. And so basically, unlike the LCAP, a typical LCAP process where the budget overview for parents is included with the LCAP and everything is looking forward at what's coming, with the exception of the annual update, which is looking back at the prior year. Everything within this particular budget overview for parents is actually looking backwards. It's saying, here's what our plan referenced, here's what our first interim report references, here's what the 2019-20 LCAP referenced. And so from a development standpoint, the only way that there's going to be any sort of substantive change made to what's being reported within the budget overview for parents is if the learning continuity and attendance plan is actually revised by an LEA and updated. And so in light of that, we're proposing the requirements around adoption of the budget overview for parents. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the recommended adoption process, what we're recommending is that school districts and county offices, no, go back, please. Go back one slide, please. Thank you. So what we're recommending is that school districts and county offices present their 2020-21 budget overview for parents to their local governing board for adoption at the same public meeting at which the first interim report is approved. So one meeting for the adoption of the budget overview for parents. Reason being is that all of the public input related to the plan and the expenditures within the plan will have already occurred by the time this takes place. And so any public input that would inform the development of the actions and services and the planning that goes into those budgeted expenditures will have concluded by the time that the budget overview is brought to the governing board with the first interim report. Similarly, we're recommending that charter schools prepare and submit their 2020-21 budget overview for parents with the LEA's first interim report to that charter school, whether that's bringing it to the local part of what's described in their MOU, whether that's bringing whether that's simply putting it together and providing it to the county office and to the charter authorizer as part of their regular oversight duties. And so, again, having charter schools prepare and submit the budget overview for parents in a manner that's similar to what their process is. Next slide, please. So in terms of review and approval, school districts are required to submit their budget overview for parents along with their first interim report to their COE for review and approval on or before December 15th. County offices are required to submit their budget overview for parents with their first interim report to the CDE for review and approval on or before December 15th. And charter schools must submit their budget overview for parents with their first interim report to the chartering authority and the county superintendent of schools as required as part of the oversight. Next slide, please. Posting requirements. So all LEAs, charter schools, school districts, county offices, everybody's required to prominently post the budget overview for parents on the homepage of their website, along with the learning continuity plan and their LCAP federal addendum as applicable. The posting of the learning continuity plan on the website was put in place by Senate Bill 98. The posting requirement for the LCAP federal addendum was put in place by SB 820. And so to the extent that an LEA has those, they need to be posting them along with the budget overview for parents on their homepage. Next slide, please. So again, you can access the template from the CDE's LCAP webpage. We've got the template form, which is the Excel document, and we've got the PDF of the instructions. And so at this point, we'll go ahead and pause and take a look at some questions that have come in. So a couple of questions. Some folks are asking where they can get more information about the first interim report. Since that's a fiscal report, you should probably talk to your budget office, or if you're a charter school, perhaps your charter management organization or back office provider. Again, our recommendation is that there be one public meeting for adoption. That, of course, does not mean that if an LEA wants to have a public hearing and a public meeting, they're certainly welcome to. However, our recommendation is that since all of the public input that would inform the development of the plan, that would inform the LCAP from the prior year, since that's already taken place, and given everything that LEAs have going on at the moment, it makes more sense to only have the one public meeting for adoption of the budget overview for parents template. County offices, there's a question here about, do county offices need to post district budget overview for parents on the COE website? The answer is yes. In the same way, the department has to post everybody's learning continuity plans, budget overview for parents, and everything else on our website. So there's a question here about the original budget overview for parents was a cover to the LCAP. This is for 2020-21, the budget overview for parents template is a standalone document, but it's posted, so don't attach it to the cover of the first interim report. Instead, post it on the same web page as you have the learning continuity plan posted, and if you have a LCAP federal addendum, that as well. LCAP federal addendum requirements under 820, if you need more information about that, you can email lcff@cde.ca.gov. There's a question here about when the slides will be available. Because we are recording this webinar and we'll be posting the transcript for the recording and the recording as well, look for that early next week. The federal addendum does not take the place of a school plan for student achievement, and so don't include the budget overview with your SIPSA. The SIPSA is a local a document that's related to your school and therefore is local. It should obviously, be made available publicly through posting or whatever, but it's not submitted to the department. There's some questions related to review and approval. And we'll address those questions at a later date, not on this webinar. Again, for school districts and for county offices of education, the budget overview for parents will go through the review and approval process as it has in past years. And so that will be, the requirement for that formal review and approval has not been removed within current legislation. So there is a formal review and approval process for school district to county office of education budget overview for parents. There's some questions related to timelines around governing board meetings. The requirement related to the first interim report and to the budget overview for parents specify that it must be submitted on or before December 15th. So if you have a December board meeting that's scheduled after December 15th, you should probably plan on bringing it to the local governing board sooner rather than later in December. There's a question here about what must be posted. So what's required to be posted at this point in time on an LEA's website are the learning continuity and attendance plan, the LCAP federal addendum, and once it's been adopted, the budget overview for parents. The COVID-19 written operations report, which existed for a brief moment or two in time, was never actually something, was something that was preempted by the adoption of Senate Bill 98 and therefore is not a requirement and is not required to be posted. Yes, so there's a question here about the home page. Yes, statute specifically says it must be prominently posted on the home page of the internet website of the LEA. So Yeah, homepage. That's what the statutory requirement is. Okay. At this point, we are almost out of time. And so we will thank you for attending. And if you've got any additional questions related to the budget overview for parents or the learning continuity and attendance plan, please feel free to reach out to lcff@cde.ca.gov. And please feel free to provide us with those questions. We'll be happy to get back to you. Again, thank you for being here. Just as a kind of early save the date pitch, we'd ask all of you to join us again next time for the next Tuesday at 2 on October 27th. October 27th, which will be a public input session for the required redesign of the annual update template for the LCAP for the 2021-22 school year. We'll be providing an overview of the initial draft of that annual update portion of the template on October 27th. We'll be sending that announcement out through LCFF. So if you're not writing it down now, don't worry. It'll go out through the LCFF listserv. But just to put that on everybody's radar, that's coming up at the end of October as we continue to move through this incredibly unique school year. So thank you for being here and for all that you are doing for California's students. We know it's a Herculean task, and appreciate all that you're doing for the kids and families out there. So thanks very much. You all have a good day, and we wish you health and safety. Thank you.